Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. Hey, listen, it's been a while and I apologize for the wait, but let's get right to it. Lots to talk about. You got the NFL that's in full swing. You have the NBA that's kicking off with a bunch of surprises. Just a lot to talk about there as well. And then, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and start off with Major League Baseball. What a World Series that was. The Washington Nationals captured their first World Series in their history. Remember, this is a team that started out in the mid-'60s up in Montreal as the Expos. And finally, they capture their first World Series. And it's funny how this goes because they let go of their best player to a division foe. The division foe doesn't make the playoffs, meaning the Philadelphia Phillies, who signed their player Bryce Harper. And yet, after a slow start coming out the gate, Washington Nationals captured their first World Series. What a series it was. It was a 7-game series. Every game was decided by the road team, which is phenomenal. I don't think I've seen that in professional sports at all, where there's a series and it was determined by the road team. Excellent. Kudos to the Washington Nationals. You're now defending Major League Baseball World Series champions. But we're going to move right along to the NFL because what an NFL it was. We had some standouts over the weekend, and I'm going to start with a team that I had no idea that midway through the season, I would be talking about them in this fashion. And I got to shout out the San Francisco 49ers. They continue to impress me each week, every week. This particular moment this week, they went up against the young stud out there in Arizona, Kyler Murray. It was a close game, 28-25. But, you know, my motto is, hey, how you doing? My motto is, the better team always finds a way to get it done and find a way to win. In this case, San Francisco is clearly the better team. They have a tremendous defense. Garoppolo had one of his better games, throwing for over 300 yards, throwing for 4 touchdowns. The newly acquired Emmanuel Sanders from Denver, he made his presence felt. 7 catches, 110-plus yards, touchdown. This 49er team, if you haven't got a chance to watch them, watch them. It is a solid team. I would not be surprised at this point if they finish with a 13-3 better record, hosting the NFC Championship in San Francisco with a legitimate shot to go to the Super Bowl. Listen, I would have never thought before the season started that week 9, week 10, wherever it may be right now, we'll be talking about the San Francisco 49ers. In fact, I have to shout out a very good friend. We had this conversation prior to the season. His name is Al D. He told me to watch out for them. I pretty much laughed. I thought Garoppolo was overrated. Although he's had a winning record as a starter over 4+ seasons, I thought it was a joke. But the joke's on me. This is a solid team, and they're not going away. The 49ers will be there to the end. They will be there to the end. I believe that the road to the Super Bowl in the NFC is going through the 49ers. And even though they're playing in the division with the league's MVP, which is Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks, who put on another show. I mean, they beat the Bucks 40-34. All he did was throw for 378 yards, 5 touchdowns. Another day at the office for Russell Wilson. What Russell Wilson does every week, time after time, is so commendable. If someone says he's the number 1 quarterback in the league, I'm not going to debate you. May not be my choice. Maybe it will be. But what we're seeing from him is just phenomenal. And it doesn't matter who suits up with him, who's on the team with him. He gets it done week after week, time after time. He's a winner. Russell Wilson with another fantastic performance, 378 yards. He had a passing rating of 133, threw for 5 touchdowns. Oh, by the way, he ran once for 21 yards. And they just picked up Josh Gordon, who, one thing about Josh Gordon, if and when he's on the field, he's always a factor. If and when he's on the field, he's always a factor. There's no question in his talent. You give this guy the weapon of a Josh Gordon, sky's the limit for Seattle. I really think, I'm an Eagles fan. I picked the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl. But in order for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to get through either San Francisco or Seattle, if not both. And right now, the Eagles are in the wild card hunt and only a half a game behind the Dallas Cowboys. But with that said, the Eagles still have work to do. So the San Francisco 49ers, kudos to them. They are getting it done. They're the only undefeated team remaining in the league after the loss that New England suffered to the hands of the Baltimore Ravens, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the San Francisco 49ers are a for real team. And it's going to be exciting watching them and Seattle go back and forth in that division. And I believe they play one another twice coming up in the second half. So that should be fun. It should be interesting. Moving right along, speaking of the Patriots, they ran into the Baltimore Ravens. I believe the Baltimore Ravens may have the best defense in the AFC. Some might say Buffalo because of their front seven, but the DBs when you got Earl Thomas anchoring the backfield of your defense, it's like having a quarterback on defense. I believe, and I solely believe, Baltimore is the biggest threat to the New England Patriots. Yeah, I know the offensive power that Kansas City possess, and especially when Mahomes is healthy, but they don't have the defense to go along with the offense. And although Baltimore's defense might outshine their offense, but their offense is not predictable. When you have Michael Vick 2.0 over there and Lamar Jackson, anything goes, anything can happen. Anything goes, anything can happen. The guy can beat you with his arm or he can beat you with his legs. And one thing, that defense, they're going to make plays. They're going to give a short field. This Baltimore team, and if you look at the history of Baltimore, every so often they make a trip to the Super Bowl. Every so often they make a trip to the Super Bowl. And why not now? Why not now? It's not, let me tell you, I believe that the Patriots aren't beat until you beat them. They're very rare they beat themselves. Very rare they don't show up. Very rare they're not in the thick of things. But I like this Baltimore team to be the team that may be able to take down the Patriots in the AFC this season. And as the Patriots' schedule gets a little bit harder and Baltimore may get a little bit easier, Baltimore may have the better record going down the stretch to be able to host an AFC championship game in Baltimore. And that could be key. That could be a key factor. And like I said, I know when Mahomes come back and it looks like that offense, as they won again this week, is clicking on all cylinders, even in his absence, I'm a little skeptical about their defense. But I'm not skeptical about Baltimore's defense. Baltimore's defense comes to play. And the acquisition of Earl Thomas, and then they picked up the cornerback from the Rams, who they had to trade to make room for Jalen Ramsey, keep an eye on Baltimore. Baltimore is a team to watch out. The Houston Texans, I like to root for them because I'm a Deshaun Watson fan. Watch the kid in Clemson do magnificent things. And, he wants to do it in the pros. From week to week, that offensive line doesn't hold up for him. And sometimes the team itself is just a little inconsistent. They got a much-needed win over Jacksonville. Big win, 26-3. Deshaun Watson was just typical game for him. If they can put it together, this Houston team could be a threat. If they just put it together. But they seem like they struggle to put it together from week to week. But if they're on any given Sunday, they can beat anybody. And Deshaun Watson can be magical. I've mentioned it before. He's very Russell Wilson-like. And to me, he plays a lot like Russell Wilson. Although he can run, he don't look to run. He just scrambles till he finds somebody. Accurate arm, strong arm, bright quarterback. Houston could be dangerous if they show some consistency. They're 6-3 and leading their division. I don't think there's a question whether they make the playoffs or not. The question will be is where they line up in the playoffs. But they will make the playoffs. Kudos to the Eagles. They went out there and beat the Bears. Now, I want to talk about the Bears first. This is a team that many had aspirations for the playoffs. They have some tremendous defensive players over there. Khalil Mack and some of those guys over there. If only their offense could catch up to their defense, this would be a strong team. I don't think until they change their quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, or just come up with a new offensive game plan, you're going to see anything different from them. This is what you're going to see, an up and down team. But kudos to the Eagles going out there, getting a win, needing a win to keep up pace with the Cowboys. They needed that win, the Eagles. I wasn't nothing flashy, just getting the job done. We're 5-4. It's kind of similar to last year. This time the Eagles was in this spot, and then all of a sudden they just started to take off gradually. And I look for them to continue this pace. I think that their schedule is a lot more favorable the second half of the season than it was in the first half. And now the Cowboys is going to face some of the same opponents that the Eagles faced early on, and the Eagles are now going to face some of the opponents that the Cowboys faced early on. So you might see a little role reversal. It could get a little tougher for the Cowboys as it might get a little easier for the Eagles. I believe the Eagles still win that division. They're half game behind right now and behind the Cowboys. I think they're going to make up that ground going down the stretch as the Eagles still have teams like Miami, Washington, the Giants twice, where the Cowboys have already played the Giants twice. The Eagles has already played teams like Buffalo, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay, and now the Cowboys are starting to have to play them as well. So it could get interesting between those two teams, but a good win for the Eagles. It's about getting healthy. Deshaun Jackson is going to miss more time. That's a blow. I'm asking the Eagles to consider going out there and getting Antonio Brown. I believe that we need some sort of offensive threat that can spread the field out, stretch the field. I want the Eagles to go get Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, he's got some problems. He's committed no crimes. I understand, I'm not going to discount any allegations that are made against him from any women. But until there's an arrest or anything like that, the NFL have given people second chances for numerous things. I would like to see the Eagles go after Antonio Brown. I think he could be a difference maker, and I definitely think he could be the acquisition we need to get into first place. I would love to see the Eagles go out there and get Antonio Brown. Cowboys pulled off a good win against the Giants. I had the Giants on the upset. I was talking to a very good friend last night. Many people think I'm a Laker hater. I'm not. There's only one team that I hate in professional sports, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. I really don't like the Dallas Cowboys. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go on record. Hey, how you doing? I do not like the Cowboys. It is a good Monday when they lose on Sunday. It is a not so good Monday when they win on Sunday. I am not a Cowboys fan. I don't like them. I despise them. And I was rooting for the Giants to pull off the upset, figuring maybe they struggle against New York teams in New York. But no, the Giants came up lame. The defense for the Cowboys was on fleek. If you think I'm playing, go ask Barkley. Barkley had 14 carries and 26 yards. He couldn't run out of a wet paper bag. He couldn't run out his own way. Everywhere he went, everywhere Barkley went, he was met by Cowboy defenders. As I said, I despise the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys. But I got to give him credit. Barkley, one of the more premier running backs in the league. Everywhere he went, there was 2 and 3 Cowboy defenders waiting on him. Either that was a poor job of an offensive lineman on the Giants' part, or the Cowboys just came to play and said, Barkley, you will not beat us. You take away that 65-yard screen pass that he had, and oh, by the way, he had 6 catches for 67 yards, and 65 came on one play. So you take away that breakaway play, Barkley did absolutely nothing on Monday night to support my upset. The Giants' offensive lineman was either half asleep on the line or they just didn't care. Because that Dallas defense was penetrating through the offensive line left and right time after time. If it wasn't for some maybe careless plays early on by the Cowboys, the Giants probably wouldn't even have those points that they had. They made the Cowboys defense look like the Steel Curtain or the 85 Bears. There was not a blocker in sight. Can't put it all on Barkley. He takes some of the blame, but that offensive line and the Giants should be ashamed of themselves. They should refund their weekly check from after that game. You got a premier running back and Saquon Barkley. He gets 14 carries for 26 yards. That's not even 2 yards per carry. Unbelievable. Just despicable. But, hey, the Cowboys did what they needed to do. They already got the message. The Eagles had already won. They needed to stay on top of that division. So they went out there. They didn't take the Giants lightly. They readjust at the second half. And boom. Giants were shut down. Like I said, you take away that 65-yard play, and we had nothing to talk about in the second half by the Giants. So the Cowboys, they keep pace. They're in first place. Decent performance by them. Oh, by the way, Zeke rushed for over 100 yards. You know the record. You know the story. When Zeke is rushing over 100 yards, Cowboys usually win. There's another team I want to talk about because I think most of us had them left for dead. And I tell you what, we question why they made the trade of their first-round pick to Miami to get the defensive player. Y'all better keep an eye on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. I'm going to tell you, keep an eye. One thing, I always say this about Russell Wilson. He's a winner. But you know who else is a winner? Mike Tomlin is a winner. Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season, and it looks like he said he's not going to have one this season either. To my surprise, the Pittsburgh Steelers have slowly turned it around with a bevy of backup quarterbacks. They're 4-4. Right now, they sit, as I mentioned, they sit in the playoff hunt. They're half a game out of the playoff hunt behind the 5-3 Colts. And with Jacoby Brissett out, who knows what kind of quarterback play you're going to get from the Colts. But we do know this. We're going to get intensity from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin has turned this team around in the last couple of weeks where you better keep an eye on Pittsburgh making the playoffs. Once again, Mike Tomlin has not endured a losing season as a head coach. And it looks like he's saying he's not going to do it again, do it this year. Pittsburgh is playing extremely well at this time. And it couldn't come at a better time. It's mid-season. You hit your stride. Take off. I don't think they catch the Ravens. But with them being only a half a game behind the Colts in the wild card and a game behind Buffalo Bills, two catchable teams. Two catchable teams. I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh gets a wild card. I would not be surprised Pittsburgh gets a wild card at 9-7, possibly 10-6. They're 4-4 with 8 games to go. I can see them finishing it up at 5-3, 6-2, going down the stretch. The confidence is there, and they're playing solid ball. There's one team I'm not going to talk about too long about, and that's those sorry Jets. Yes, my New York Jets. I want to talk about them because, Adam Gase has to be the worst coach in the league right now. He just has to be. He did nothing in Miami, and he's not doing anything with the New York Jets. There's no reason for him to finish the season. The Jets have one win this year. One. They had aspirations of competing for a playoff. They went out there and made a big splash and getting Le'Veon Bell. And all they're doing is wasting him. They're wasting him. And then you're talking about trading him at the break. Him and Jamal Adams, your two best players. Why not trade Sam Darnold? He had one good game. He was Offensive Player of the Week in the AFC. Must have went to his head because he has not resembled that quarterback from the Dallas game since then. And Adam Gase is a joke. Talk about being on the hot seat. He should be on the hot seat. Dan Quinn in Atlanta should be on the hot seat. And players on the hot seat is no other than Cam Newton. Cam Newton, mark my words, has played his last game as a Carolina Panther. Cam Newton will have a new team calling plays in a new huddle come September next season. Look for Denver. Look for Chicago. Possibly Tampa Bay, as they might be done with Jameis Winston. So I look for those two quarterbacks to be on the move. And Sam Darnold should be on the move as well. But first, get rid of Gase. Gase is horrible. Just despicable. So midway through the season, we're far from shaping up the playoffs. But one thing we do know, San Francisco at 8-0, they're looking like the best team in football. They are really looking like the best team in football. Mike Shanahan should be coach of the year in the NFC. What he is doing, as I said before, I didn't see it coming, but it's been consistent all year. Garoppolo, whether he has a great game or a not so great game, he plays well enough to keep them in the game. Their defense, the Bosa kid, he should be Defensive Rookie Player of the Year. I mean, Richard Sherman's having fun over there. It is just an outstanding a job collectively what San Francisco is doing. Green Bay, you can't say enough about Green Bay at 7-2. And you can't say enough about Seattle at 7-2. 7-2, they have a wild card spot right now. Minnesota at 6-3 has a wild card spot. You got Carolina at 5-3, and you have Philly at 5-4, looking outside of the wild card spot. Looks like Cam is not going to play the rest of the way. Can Kyle Allen continue to hold down the fort? Can he continue to win 2 out of 3 games? Keep them above pace? If he goes 5-3 in these last 8 games in the second half, would 10-6 be enough to secure a wild card spot? But more importantly, 10-6 would be enough to secure his start spot in that huddle next year, as Cam Newton will be looking for a new team. So the NFC, I believe we got an idea what 8 is going to compete for the wild card. For the playoffs. And the AFC, you have New England at 8-1. They should be a lock. You have Baltimore at 6-2. I think they're a lock. KC at 6-3. I don't think anybody in their division is going to threaten them. They're a lock. You got Houston at 6-3. Even though you got Indianapolis at 5-3, I don't think Indianapolis will catch them. So I think those division winners pretty much have it secure. Where it gets a little dicey at, will the Buffalo Bills sustain their 6-2 effort? That's the question. I don't trust their offense. Their front 7 defense is tremendous. But I just don't trust their offense. But at 6-2, even if they go 4-4 in their last 8 games, that puts them at 10-6. To really fall out of the playoff race, they would have to go 2-6, 3-5. As long as they play 500 ball, they're going to be in the thick of things. So keep an eye on Buffalo. I don't believe in their offense. The Colts, they're a little up and down. But keep an eye on Pittsburgh at 4-4. I think they're going to make a run. This is an experienced team with a great coach. I think they're going to make a great run. Look out for them. Moving right along to the NBA. Let me tell you something about the NBA right now. I get a chance to watch a lot of games. I have League Pass. There's never a dull night in the NBA. You can find a game to watch, even if it's a mismatch. Last night, we watched the Lakers and the Bulls. I thought that would be a game not to watch. I thought the Lakers would just run through the Bulls. Twice, on 2 occasions, the Bulls had 18-point leads. The Bulls was playing ball. In fact, Chicago should have won the game. I don't know why they sat Kobe White, who was just balling out of control. The Lakers couldn't do nothing with him. He came off the bench for 18 points. He sparked the run. Why would they sit him in favor of Satoransky? I don't know. But kudos to the Lakers, because this is a type of game that you have to win. You can't afford to go on the road and lose to a struggling team like the Chicago Bulls. And can't say enough about LeBron. LeBron, yes, I'm a LeBron hater. But I got to respect what he's doing. This is his 3rd consecutive triple-double on the road. I mean, right now, he's maybe the league's MVP. As the Lakers have the best record in basketball. Currently at 6-1. After that opening night loss to the Clippers, they've reeled off 6 straight wins. And LeBron is playing some of his best basketball that I've seen since a finals run in Cleveland. I mean, he's playing on both sides of the court, defense as well as offense. He's really getting it in. You know, you say don't sleep on the Bulls. I'm going to sleep on the Bulls until they learn how to close out games, because that game was for them. Whether it was the players or the coaches, They should have secured that win. It wasn't like Anthony Davis was balling out of control. It was actually a group effort, actually. I think Kuzma had 15 off the bench. Quinn Cook had 18 off the bench. Again, LeBron with a triple-double, 30, 10, and 11. It was a joint effort. But the Bulls got to secure that win. They have to. The Bulls got a lot of young talent, young players. They got to put it together before they can become a playoff contender. Because from what I see, maybe it's coaching decisions. Satoransky should not be starting. Satoransky should not be starting. San Antonio came into Atlanta. They suffered a loss. Shout out to Trae Young. He came back from his little minor ankle injury to have 29 points, 13 assists. Are we looking at the next great point guard in this league in Trae Young? Trae L. DeBarge Young? Because he looks like a DeBarge. But are we looking at the next great point guard in this league? Trae Young can ball. He can ball. And you know, he's not just a shooting point guard. The guy actually can run the team. He has 13 assists last night. And San Antonio guys are bevy of point guards or guards that they can run at him. DeJounte Murray is probably one of the better defensive point guards in this game. And what was impressive about that win was San Antonio clearly a team that you figure to make the playoff. You probably figured them to come to Atlanta and take the win. It came on the same day announced that John Collins will miss 25 games due to a banned substance. And Trae coming back from an ankle injury. To see what he did was magnificent. Magnificent. So shout out to Lloyd Pierce and Atlanta franchise there. I really believe they have something brewing there. Hopefully when John Collins returns back, he can fit in seamlessly and they can continue their march, because I really think the Atlanta Hawks is a team that's on deck. I think they got next. I think they're the team that could surprisingly crack the top 8 and make the playoffs if there's a team that falters. Yeah. I like what they're brewing there and what they're doing there. They got something cooking. You know, moving right along, Hornets with their third consecutive win. I don't know what's going on there. They beat Indiana in overtime. They got a career-high performance from someone off the bench, Devontae Graham. He put up 35. Terry Rozier, he made his presence felt with 22. You know, and in a losing effort, T.J. Warren had 30. I think it was 33, and Malcolm Brogdon had 31. Something is going on in Indiana that I can't put my finger on. You know, I have this saying, when you're not on the radar, it's easy to win games. And sometimes guys are hanging out the night before. Maybe they're not getting enough rest. They don't take you serious. Maybe one guy's not playing. But when you're on the radar, when you come to town or we go to your town, people are circling the calendar. They want to play you. And you got to realize that. You know, like the Lakers, they go to Chicago. They may not get a bigger or larger attendance than when the Lakers come to town. So you don't think they're going to lace them up and want to play well? Well, when you're no longer on the radar, teams go at you. And I think Indiana's is on the radar, and teams are ready for them. And they haven't figured it out yet. They're going to have to get it together and get it together soon. They haven't figured it out yet. But good win by Charlotte. They have a bunch of youngsters over there. You know, I was asked about a week ago, can I name 5 players on the team? You know, and I struggled to name them. But I know the 5 now. I probably can name more than 5 now. But it's a team that is full of youngsters. We're going to find out if their guy can coach over there, Barrell, see if he can coach. If he can get this team just be respectable, it'd be a great coaching job on his behalf. I mean, you got Terry Rozier, you got Malik Monk, you have Dwayne Bacon, you have P.J. Washington, you have Mikal Bridges, you have Biyombo, Marvin Williams. He don't even play no more. It's good to see young talent come together and play well, and play in unison. Not like my guys right there. Not like my guys right there. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, a long time suffering Knicks fan. Yeah, I bleed blue and orange. But right now, they're so far from everybody else. There's a lot of fresh surprises in the NBA right now. The Phoenix Suns, 5-2. Signature wins against Clippers, Philadelphia. Minnesota, good wins. Dallas, playing well. We talked about Charlotte, playing well. Yes, this is a surprise too. They're 1-6 in the bottom of the Eastern Conference. It shouldn't be that way. They have some talent over there. Am I the only one that sees that Fizz is not a good coach? Am I the only one? Fizz is lousy. Lousy. Let me say this to you. Because you're a likable babysitter, it doesn't make you a great parent. Because you're somebody that is nice on a good date, it doesn't make you a good spouse. Because you're a cool assistant coach, doesn't make you a good head coach. I know it's 7 games into the season. They have a game tonight against a depleted Detroit team that's full of injuries. But Fizz needs to go. Fizdale needs to go. He's horrible as a head coach. Fizdale is horrible. I repeat, horrible as a head coach. No, listen. The Knicks is not a lock for the playoff. The Knicks ain't a playoff contender. They're not there yet. But they shouldn't be 1-6. Yeah, they could use a point guard. I've been on record saying that we should trade Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina to OKC for Dennis Schroeder. We need a point guard. But David Fizdale is horrible as a head coach. Clearly, New York Knicks management made a mistake by choosing him over Mark Jackson. And David Fizdale, take that for data. He's horrible as a head coach. While all these teams that were lottery teams and it was bad teams, they're kind of looking up early on in the season. Having decent wins, having decent start. Phoenix Suns was the bottom of the pack. They made 1 move, 2 moves. They made 2 moves. They got Monty Williams and Ricky Rubio. Monty Williams is presidential on the sidelines, guys. This is a head coach that should have never been fired in New Orleans. Why? Because he gave up a 20-point lead to the Golden State Warriors and got swept in the first round with a young Anthony Davis, and then the Golden State eventually went on and won the championship? That's why you fired him? Look what he's doing early on with Phoenix. And their second best player is out 25 games due to suspension, and DeAndre Ayton. The difference of what a head coach can make. Lloyd Pierce doing a job in Atlanta. The difference what a head coach can make. Terry Rozier, a very serviceable point guard. Ricky Rubio may be the best, well, I say he's the second best pure point guard in the league behind Michael Conley Jr. But he's a great point guard in making the game easier for his players, making teams better. Now Booker, who's a top 25 player in this game, he don't have to worry about bringing up the ball. He can just run baseline screens run off a baseline screen set by the big man, Aaron Baines, because if he puts a baseline screen on you, you ain't getting through him. You know, I thought that was one player that Boston should have tried to held on to after they lost Al Horford. But he's over there in Phoenix. He's making a difference. And Devin Booker's enjoying just shooting, not having to bring the ball up, running baseline picks. Like I said, Aaron Baines is picking them. He's coming out, picking pop, bow. Rubio giving him nice passes, running the offense. Monty Williams putting them in positions where they could be successful. That's what a good coach does. Not look on the sidelines like this, like David Fizdale. He has no clue. No clue, no answer. None whatsoever. Some people say he was given a raw deal. No, he wasn't given a raw deal. He came there. He was likable around the league. Some people say that Scott Perry and Steve Mills sold him a good saying that we're going to go get Durant. We're going to get this person. We're going to free up cap. No, I think it was the other way around. Hey, guys, we free up some cap. The guys around the league, they like me. You can talk to LeBron. You can talk to D. Wade. Well, guess what? D. Wade retired. LeBron's under contract. They ain't coming to the Garden. Now it's on you to coach. You did a horrible job last season, and you're starting off even worse. And you got a little bit of talent. There's nothing wrong with Morris. Teams is going to be calling the Knicks for Morris at the break. There's nothing wrong with Randall. Take the ball out of his hands. He won't have so many turnovers. Put Bobby Portis in a position where he can be successful. And don't let R.J. Barrett run the point. That is not his game. He's a two-guard. Coach or move on. Bring somebody else in. I've had it with Fizdale. He's horrible. He needs to be replaced. Knicks is 1-6. They tied for New Orleans with the worst record. And they should not be at the bottom of the East. They should not. They're nowhere near the on-deck circle. They're nowhere near they got next. And it don't help the tank. Because with the new lottery rules, as you can see, you can have the number one. You can finish with the number one with the best chances, and you don't get that pick. The Pelicans was number 8, and they got the number 1 pick. The Lakers was number 11. They got the number 4 pick. Although I thought that was arranged, because that led to eventually the Anthony Davis trade. It's time for Fizz to go. It is time for Fizz to go. Well, that's going to do it for Chopping It Up with Ramel. Appreciate all those who chimed in, took the time out to say hey and to watch and, make some comments. I appreciate you all. And hopefully I'll do this again probably on Friday. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a great day.